And that's what's come crashing in on us here. Not that Charlie Kirk was a preacher in a pulpit somewhere, but that in large part, it's those issues and those areas that have directly confronted biblical Christianity that he spoke to in the public square. Issues like biblical manhood and womanhood, marriage, human sexuality. These same issues that biblically we stand 10 toes down on. These are the ones. And by the way, here's what you need to understand. The game has changed. We don't debate anymore. You see, now we look at issues not through the lens of our underlying philosophy, but we look at issues through our identity and our lived experience. So when someone is taking a position on political issues today, oftentimes because of this neo-Marxist ideology, this oppressor-oppressed ideology, because of the way we sort of divided the world, we look at it through that lens. And so this is not just my political opinion or position. This is my identity and this is my lived experience. So we can't have a debate on that. For you to have a debate on something that I have declared as my identity and my lived experience is for you to negate my identity and to negate my lived experience. And by the way, we've already decided that words are violent. So if your words are violence and they are violence against my very identity, it's reasonable that I would respond to your words with actual violence. Just know that. So that's what brings the persecution and the suffering. You don't even have to declare your position. For those of you who think you can hide, for those of you who think you can be quiet enough, for those of you who think you can put your head down and not experience some of this, just saying that you're a Christian, just people knowing the church that you go to. I get flack every time I come to Moscow, just because Doug Wilson lives here. And then he's my friend? Oh. By the way, there are other people who get in trouble because they come where I live and name me as their friend. So when you've staked out that position, when they know, for example, that you believe that life in the womb is precious and ought to be protected, when you believe that God made them male and female and one can't become the other, when you believe that marriage is between a man and a woman, and that regardless of what the Supreme Court said in Obergefell, man does not have the right to redefine the institution of marriage. When you believe, and I can go down the list, when you believe these things, you don't believe in a slate of positions that are debatable. You have identified yourself as a person whose very existence is violence against the identity and lived experience of others. And you are not worthy to live. That's where we are today. And we've seen the most brutal outworking of that. So when he says, who is there to harm you if you prove zealous for what is good? Even if you should suffer for righteousness' sake, you are blessed. Just know that those are the stakes we're talking about here. He addressed that also in chapter 2. Listen to what he said. For to this you have been called, because Christ also suffered for you, leaving you an example, so that you might follow in his steps. He committed no sin, neither was deceit found in his mouth. When he was reviled, he did not revile in return. When he suffered, he did not threaten. He continued entrusting himself to him who judges justly. He himself bore our sins in his body on the tree, that we might die to sin and live to righteousness. It is a delight to be here with you. It's always a delight to be at New St. Andrews. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. Get that, we know that. But do we really? Do we really understand that? And I don't think we do, because most of the times when I run into people who talk to me about, doing apologetics, and people know me for doing apologetics and writing on apologetic issues and, doing public events that are apologetic in nature and going on different shows and talking about things that are apologetic in nature. Talked about Charlie Kirk in terms of his character and him. We had this game that we used to play. It was called Playing the Dozens. Now, you guys will not, you just won't eat right. But Playing the Dozens was your mama jokes, right? Oh, yeah, well, your mama's so ugly. Oh, yeah, well, your mama's so... We used to do that as sport. I was so good at Playing the Dozens. I really was. And so when I read here in this text, but on the contrary, bless, for to this you were called, right? Don't exchange reviling for reviling. And let's be honest, we kind of like that. The algorithm feeds that stuff to us. But, so-and-so shuts down lib, so-and-so, right? We love it, right? The mic drop. But we don't revile for the sake of reviling. That's not the goal. Now, our goal at the end of the day is not to win the argument, but to win the man. And we don't do that by reviling. Now, let me quickly come back and say,